second year running of this show, and that it is a show put together by both current and former sex workers to talk about their experiences in the life.
Heard great reviews. Like it, had a lot of press. Singing and acting. And it'd be funny. That's my expectations.
To be entertained, to be made more aware of what's going on.
To be shocked, maybe?
I would like to understand better what the real life is like, and I think this show will help me to understand that.
I'm incredibly optimistic that it's going to tell some amazing stories and stuff like that, but I am very open-minded as far as what I expect.
It's certainly something different, something that I would not normally go and see, I suppose, but I'd like to think I'm open-minded, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually. I'm looking forward to seeing something different.
I am 100% for sex worker rights. I am absolutely 100% decrim, and it's one of those things that actually I'm super passionate for, and I do my own advocacy on behalf of sex workers and stuff like that, so this is something I'm very passionate about.
Sex workers work, I think it is absolutely sort of something that is there to stay. The sex workers are very often badly treated, and that is really an unacceptable thing.
No problem.
I think that it's work just like any other. I think it should be decriminalised as openly.
It's a bit of a taboo subject, isn't it? So I think it's good that it's brought out into the open.
Like perhaps if the society is more liberal and fairer, and it's not when women are oppressed in the wider society, then the sex work becomes quite a drudgery. Whereas if you're living in a more liberal society and it's fairer and it's more of an option, then it's just an option.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Really entertained. I was amused and entertained. Not as shocked as I thought I would be. I guess, I've seen more than I thought.
I'm quite emotional, actually. I didn't really entirely know what to expect from this, but it's incredibly intense and it's really powerful. The message is really cutting to the bone in the best way.
Everything they said was fine, it was well done. It brought out a number of the dilemmas and the problems that there are in a very realistic way, and I thought it was well done. All praise to this cast.
Already I've cried, I've been a bit horny, I'm an artist and I've already seen amazing images.
I think it is quite shocking in a really refreshing way, because it's just so honest, and very quickly you get used to these images that you don't see every day. And what I really like about it is the humour and the intelligence and the unexpected moments. You know, the pacing is really, really good.
This is incredible. This has been a learning opportunity. And at times, I thought it was a mirror reflecting the reality. But I think it was more and more shaping my own opinion. So it has the power to be a sledgehammer to shape the opinion of people. I learned a lot. And I realized how little I knew what I didn't know about this.
Everyone is so talented. I mean, which isn't to say that I didn't expect people to be talented, but like, there are people who have skills that I had no idea that they had, so that's been kind of a very pleasant surprise.
How funny it is, and it's very thought-provoking, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
The only surprise was seeing full nude ladies' private area on stage. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
You were not expecting that?
I know, that's crazy. Usually it's a willy, so.
It's a bit racy. No, it's nothing has really surprised me.
You're not surprised?
No, it's, yeah.
1 minute you think we should support them, then you're thinking, should they be doing that? So it's really,
Makes you think.
yeah, really makes you
No, I'd say they're probably about the same in the best possible way. It's, again, the things that are being said are just so spot on, so accurate, and the message is so good.
Sort of starting to think before that it is a choice that people can make, and yeah, in a fairer society, that choice becomes a viable one.
Still the same, they're there. They'll always be there.
Perspectives of the people who were on the stage, which I never knew, which I never thought about. And that's a very important perspective which the world usually either don't know or don't pay attention to, or is often not considered as not important.
Loved it. Very good. Loved it. It was funny, it was emotional, thought-provoking, a bit of history as well, isn't it? Where they started. Loved it.
The second half, even more than the first half, like I felt like the first half was an educational, this is what sex workers have to face, these are the injustices, and then the second half was so moving, very personal.
I saw the last incarnation and it's really developed, and I was really impressed with the way it's been developed.
It was so powerful and so intense and so very, very real, which is what you get when you listen to the stories from the mouths of the people who experienced them. It was absolutely amazing.
You know, it was relentless, really. I found it relentless, and I just didn't want it to end. I couldn't believe that it was going on, and I was just loving it, and it was kind of building, and I was getting more and more moved. And I've never so naturally stood up at the end of a show for a standing ovation, because I felt like they'd sort of been out there with us, toing and froing, and kind of playing with our emotions in lots of different ways. So I felt really connected to them. It was wonderful.
A bit of controversy, something different, unusual.
I was expecting to be inspired and emotional and have lots of laughs, because I knew a bit of some of the crew, and I knew it would be very special, and it's actually beyond of what I was expecting.
The girl with the peep show story, that was just lovely, and the music that the girl in the blue top sang, like her voice, and also the police raid, it was so emotional.
My favourite moment was the Siobhan singing and Charlotte being the director and cutting. I thought that was very funny, very well done, and the singing was amazing.
I think the monologues hit me the hardest. That when individuals kind of stood on stage and told either their own stories or someone else's story in a very kind of straightforward one-on-one sort of way.
Girl, where the tall blonde girl was singing about her choice that her solo, and the bit at the end, the girls singing "I'd just like to dance."
The cellist came out, and she was very elegant, and then she suddenly lifted her skirt up, and she actually looked quite innocent. It was sort of a mixture of moments, really. Because, as I say, I like the vulnerability. She was vulnerable but strong, and it was shocking.
I think the bit when she was being hit. When she was being hit, that girl when she was on an, that was quite challenging. I found that quite difficult.
I guess when you heard little bits about people's kind of painful experiences, and when people were sharing hard times they'd had, and that was affecting, because it's that thing about seeing that they were genuine stories, that there's that sense of how comfortable it is to be a witness to someone's maybe private or personal thing, but that they're choosing to share it with you and you don't know them.
The most challenging moment was the minute silence around trans sex workers that have died, because I know some of them. I've got friends that have died from that and have committed suicide over it, so I was actually in tears and offered a tissue by a guy in the audience.
Found really more arresting really than practically any image I've seen on stage is when the transgender person took off all their clothes and you just loved him. You just or her. You just loved them, and it took me to a place I've never been. Really, I think.
There are some things, oddly enough, that have actually made me think a little bit. I have to say, just a couple of things that there's a lot of comedy in there, but there's also an underlying message coming through, and I was picking up a bit of that about the reality of that and what the sex workers have to go through.
It uncovers all your prejudices. Each one of them, you think, oh God, I'm probably said that or done that, or and the message is so simple to listen and open your heart and your ears.
I think it's perfectly happy with it. I think it should be perfectly legal.
Sex work is really a double-edged sword because it's a choice, but it's partly a choice because the other choices for women in society are not great, and some of that I think was highlighted in that production.
I think we're blind if we think that we should pretend that we can live in a world where it doesn't exist, and I think it's silly to shut ourselves off from a whole side of our being and our personality and our lives.
As a father, I've got a daughter the same age. How would I feel about if she came to me and said that I've got this job? How would I react? No, I still think I need to understand the rationale as to why. And if it's something, I would have a dialogue. I would have a dialogue. And I'd always think it's so important to have a dialogue.